When you say they avoid the security problem you have in mind is what we all now feel every time we go on the web. We're afraid of identity theft. We're afraid of being hacked. We get alerts from Google itself saying, were you this user? Was that you who checked in and changed your password? The feeling that we're naked before, who knows, unknown, faceless enemy. That's the security problem they're avoiding, because if they give things away for free, security patches are good enough. That's the point?
But the fact is, security is not a video game. Security is an architecture. And the existing computer architecture, of which Google is the paramount exponent, is failing. Okay. It's filling the internet with clutter. It's failing with the smartphone. 30% of your payments for smartphone services go to download ads that you don't want to see. You really don't want these ads on your smartphones. They are not ads, they are minuses. And only 0.06% of these smartphone ads are clicked on. And according to surveys, 50% of these clicks approximately are in error. So only 0.03% of smartphone ads are actually desired. And this is a catastrophe. This is not a viable business, and Google is coming to the end of the line in smartphone advertising. It's trying to move from search, where it serves the rest of the internet, to solutions where Google is the answer man in the sky, and its AI, with its increasing accumulation of big data, can answer all your questions. But that's where I make the charge of delusional.
All right, the new system of the world. Again, life after Google. This very lack of concern with security will be Google's undoing. For every other player on the net, the lack of security is the most relevant threat to its current business model. This problem will be solved. So fundamental will security be to the new system that its very name will be derived from it. It will be the cryptocosm. Explain that term.
The cryptocosm refers to this amazing providential efflorescence of creativity that's erupted all around the world to supply a new architecture for the internet, and indeed, ultimately, a new architecture for the entire world economy. At a very time that the system of central banks, with its $5.1 trillion a day of currency trading that doesn't even arrive at settled currency values or significant currency values, and the architecture of the internet, which requires you to expose yourself, strip naked virtually before the cameras in order to conduct a transaction. You have your passwords, pins, your usernames, your last four numbers of your Social Security, your mother's maiden name, your first school, your favorite pet, your irises, your DNA, this method of authenticating people to participate in internet transactions is bankrupt. They may imagine that this is a viable system, but it isn't. It is failing every day, and it's going to be replaced by the cryptocosm, by the blockchain, by a whole series of technologies deriving from the blockchain.
Right. So I want to use security is, I'm quoting again, security is not a procedure or a mechanism, it is an architecture. The cryptocosm will start by defining the ground state. You don't build the building, you build the foundation. The ground state. It is the ultimate non-random reality. The ground state is you. The ground state is you. Explain that.
Well, the ground state in the cryptocosm is your private key, which validates you as your DNA identifies you. It's
So this is not. This isn't. This isn't. You're not overreaching for the sake of argument. You are saying that in the cryptocosm, blockchain technology will permit us all to have some kind of
unimpeachable ID,
which is as individual to us and as undecryptable as our DNA.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. All right. And you'd better explain. And here I brace my. Here I'm just going to hold the table with both hands. You'd better explain for the layman. I'll give you a short paragraph. Blockchain. What is blockchain? Make me understand that.
Blockchain is a new architecture, new security architecture for the internet that allows you to keep your information to yourself, and it distributes all the personal information all across the network, just as human intelligence is distributed across the world. And individual human brains. It's not agglomerated in giant data clumps. It's human intelligence is distributed. The blockchain distributes personal data rather than concentrating it in one of the few big walled gardens, Google,
like
Facebook, concentrating it, and then forcing you to petition to the big centralized database for the right to be yourself on the internet. It's a distributed way of you keep your data to yourself and use whatever data you need to conduct a particular transaction. But it's as it originated as a form of money, Bitcoin.
Right.
But it's often compared to cash because it seems to allow anonymity.
Yes.
But it's really better than cash. It's a major step forward beyond cash because not only does it allow you to conduct anonymous transactions, it also enables you to demonstrate your behavior and your transactions unimpeachably, if you have to the IRS, to a prosecutor, to Preet Bharara, or whoever it may be. The blockchain gives you an immutable record that allows you to document your behavior. And it's always seemed to me that the key thing isn't really privacy, isn't really as critical as being able to prove that you didn't do something that a government wants to charge you with doing. You know, that the ability of attestation is an important advance that the blockchain offers, both in third world countries and in the United States.
All right. So your limited claim in Life After Google is that we have a new technology coming along that will make use of my smartphone and my desktop and your smartphone and your desktop and distribute transactions and intelligence and in some ways meaning across everybody's smartphones and computers, and it will render Google's fantastically huge investment in these 80 different data centers. It will render those beside the point, perhaps.
Yeah, well, we're very like those big abandoned aluminum plants that you can see up the Dalles.
Okay. That's the limited claim. Here's the larger claim, that blockchain can fix a lot of what's wrong with America. Life After Google. Blockchain technology will address the doldrums of centralization, insecurity, and sclerosis afflicting the current information economy. Okay, now how's that? How's that? IPOs are down. This is the Peter Thiel argument that we're just not getting the innovation that it feels as though we should have, right?
Yeah.
And how does blockchain jumpstart the whole economy?
Well, it's because blockchain corresponds with the reality of the world, which is the ultimate thinking element is the human mind, individual human minds, each one different, each one with a potential of its own, which can make its own contribution. And blockchain is an answer to this cloud mind, which I call sky computing, which you described so well with the computers and smartphones all around the world, contributing their cycles as needed to perform supercomputer computations as required, or 3D rendering from the internet, that is having 3D experiences provided across the internet, all from the skies, open skies, rather than from the clouds of Google, Facebook, and the rest of the giants, Apple and Amazon, and which are the biggest companies in the world, and a tremendous upset. I'm not for any kind of attacks on them. I'm of government regulation or whatever. I don't think that's the problem at all. I think the problem is that they have a business plan and a technological solution that's inappropriate to a world full of individual human minds.
Okay, so here's your argument then. Your argument is the ultimate resource, the base of it all, is not any human construct, still less anything that has such a centralizing tendency as these huge data centers that we began by discussing. Yeah. Your argument is no, 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 no. It's the individual. The individual is the resource, and blockchain will empower individual human beings. Individual human beings in conditions of economic and political liberty are resources, and blockchain will empower them.
That's right. Well put. That's the conclusion.
I've been reading you for 35 years, George.
And it is already happening. I mean, you mentioned the IPO crisis, the 90% drop in the number of IPOs. The 50% shrinkage of the number of, more than 50%, 60% shrinkage of the number of public companies on the stock market. We're having a stock market boom while the number of companies shrinks drastically, and new challengers don't rise up. IPOs. But a Thiel fellow, you mentioned Peter Thiel,
yes,
who's a pivotal figure in life after Google. Peter Thiel has created these Thiel fellowships,
that's
and
right.
One of the first ones was Vitalik Buterin, who established Ethereum just 5 or 6 years ago, which is a new blockchain based on Satoshi's Bitcoin blockchain, but improved and more generalized. And he created the new blockchain, a new global computer platform, a new programming language called Solidity, a new currency to finance a new form of smart contracts which could be implemented on this new computer platform, a new source of measurement for the value of the money and the energy consumption of the computer cycles required to implement the smart contracts, a huge new compound enterprise that in the last 12 months has essentially solved the IPO problem with ICOs. That's
initial coin offerings?
Initial coin offerings, initial Cayman offerings, initial crypto offerings, and they've raised $20 billion in less than 12 months for thousands of new companies. Many of them have failed. Many have gone bust, just like the internet upsurge. But this is an amazing efflorescence that this Valerik Buterin, who I think is one of the great entrepreneurs of our history, has accomplished in 12 months. Pretty much solved the IPO problem. It's the Chinese are rebelling because cryptocurrencies are global, and the Chinese are skittish about anything that allows the globalization of Chinese capital that's not completely controlled. But anyway, China is deeply involved in all these new cryptocosmic developments.
George, a special topic. You touch on it, you discussed it at some length in Life After Google. It's not the central point, but it's a special topic. Artificial intelligence. In Life After Google, you describe a 2017 conference of technologists at Asilomar, California. Quote, they gathered at Asilomar to alert the world to the dire threat posed by, well, by themselves, by Silicon Valley. Their computer technology, artificial intelligence, had gained such power and momentum that they now deemed it nothing less than a menace to mankind. To the Googleplex intellectuals, mathematics is essentially a doomsday machine, close quote. And they're wrong?
Yeah, they forgot Gödel. They just don't understand their own technology. It's sad, but they don't.
Okay, hold on.
They imagine that